Well, it's a great field, but it actually doesn't contain any of the Kenyans who will be here to race against Mo Farah, although it does have some very good Kenyans and Ethiopians in it. And Ross Millington and Jonathan Mellor, you can see there, they're running for places in the possibly in the European team in Zurich later in the year. Bernard Lagat, a great favourite. Thomas Longasiwa, medalist at the Olympic Games. Edwin Soy, of course, who's outkicked Mo Farah in the past. He'll be one who's disappointed he's not here, because he won a great race against Alamaru the other night in the Paris Diamond League. And watch out, I guess, Gebri Meskel, Gebri Wet. And that name there, Jaylan, man who beat Mo Farah in the World Championships in Daegu in 2011. He's starting to rediscover that sort of form as well. So an intriguing 5,000 metres. They've been asked for a pretty good pace. I'm not sure that the pacemakers are that experienced. A couple of 19-year-olds, they're really talented youngsters. But I always think in this sort of race it's always worth putting a couple of old hats in. Brendan, you'd qualify for that, although I'm not sure you'd be able to set the pace just to what these lads would like.
Well, if I was setting the pace, Steve, I think I would have been just about finished by now. Half a lap. Anyway, the talent in this field makes it really difficult. There's two pacemakers running away from that group there, which includes all of these talented athletes, some of the best in the world, some of the athletes who've mixed it over many years with Mo Farah. And that race now is spoiled, because those two pacemakers are just going to do what they're going to do, and the race that we should be concentrating on is happening behind it. And when you look at it, you can make out the credentials for any one of these athletes, or any bunch of these athletes. But at the end of the day, we're looking at Augustin Chogi, who's a top athlete, Commonwealth Games champion back in 2006. He's in third place there. I remember him in Melbourne in 2006 winning the Commonwealth Games in a fantastic race, and in that race Mo Farah was about sixth. So these athletes have grown up with Mo. They're all watching for him, we're all hearing about him. We're all a bit disappointed that he's not very well, and we hope he gets better soon. More important that his health gets better than whether he comes back in training. But here we've got a strange race here now. We've got three athletes clear, and then we've got a big group of talent behind them.
Well, Chogi has bridged the gap, and well, he's from the same stable, if you like, as Bernard Lagat, and I know that the thought was that Chogi could help these youngsters. The youngsters is not a problem for them. They're running what they were asked to do. Chogi's gone with them, and the pack can't let Augustine Chogi, open up a 100-metre lead. I know it's a long way to go. And the likes of Alamaru, he does what he always does in these races, runs the first couple of laps at the back. You think there's something wrong with him, you think he's, not right, and then he starts to move up a bit like Hassan in that women's 1500 metres. So he's just kept out the way. He's going, okay, guys, do what you want up at the front. But Lagat essentially leading the pack. But look at that lead already. Chogi with these two guys to help him. He might just have a little word with them and say, all right, lads, come on, see if you can drag me away from the rest of them here. Because that Brendan, is already a big gap, and he's not running fast. It's not as though he's gone off silly here. He's just running a steady pace. They keep looking around saying, what on earth is going on? Interesting.
It often happens though, Steve. You've got so many athletes. If you look into the race beforehand, there's Chogi, a former Commonwealth champion. Sadly won't be representing Kenya. In fact, none of these athletes representing Kenya tonight will we see in the Commonwealth Games, which is a bit disappointing, because these are some of the best athletes. And then the Ethiopian athletes, pair of them, Gebri Wet, Gebri Meskel, and then Bernard Lagat, all running together in the yellow vests there. But interestingly, Chogi's got a good lead here over that group. And when there's so much talent, sometimes there's safety in numbers, and sometimes, we've seen it in the past, we've seen it many times in the past, the pacemaker, or one of the athletes who joins the pacemaker, gets away from the field and stays away from the field. Well, I've seen Augustin Chogi run enough good races to know that they're going to have to pay him some attention here, because fairly soon he's going to be left on his own, and his decision would then to be whether to keep going or not. So you sense now the athletes behind are gathering a little bit of momentum, working a little bit together, beginning to close that gap. But we need to look a little bit closer in the field to see where the talent is.
Well, Alamaru obviously realising that what was going on, that it was Chogi up there, and that's his problem for sitting at the back the first two laps. He couldn't see who it was, and obviously he's decided to give chase. I can see Gebri Wet's moved up, Lagat's still right up there. Cam Levins, the training partner of Mo Farah, has moved up towards the front of that chasing group. But the difference is Brent Chogi's had a nice steady 4 or 5 laps. The others having to work hard now to close that gap. They're going to have to run a second a lap for the next 5 or 6 laps, just to quicker than Chogi, just to catch him. So through these first few laps, Mutai and Barasai have done their job. Mutai probably will step aside fairly quickly, and Alamaru stretching hard, and they're all working hard in that group. You can always tell that by the single file fashion that they're running in now, chasing Chogi.
And those gaps beginning to open all the way down the field. It's a little bit of a ragged race, this. The pacemaker has done what they're supposed to do, and the athletes, the big athletes, have decided not to follow. But Alamaru in the yellow vest has decided that Augustin Chogi of Kenya is enough of a talent to not be left there with 8 laps to go in the men's 5,000 meters. We've got a group of 3 at the front, we've got an in-between athlete, and then we've got a single file group. And really this is a case of the athletes not doing what they said they were going to do, because they requested the pacemaker and they haven't followed him, so that's their problem. But where would you want to be in this race? I would be tempted to say you'd want to be a little bit where Augustin Chogi is.
Well, he's had a fairly comfortable first 5 laps through 2,000 meters, 2:40 for that kilometer, and that's pretty slow for these guys. And when you consider, you know, what happened in Paris the other night, there was a lot of talk about a big fast race for Gerland Rupp, go for the American Championships. That kind of fizzled out. They still ran pretty quickly. You've got to say, you can't argue with 12:59 for Edwin Soy, but he's the only man who's run under 13 minutes this year in that race. Close finish with Alamaru, got the better of him at the end, and Soy has just quietly moved his way through the pack. He's in about 6th or 7th place at the moment, but he'll be keeping an eye on Alamaru, that's for sure, because he knows, you know, Soy just likes to win races. If it's fast, he will go with it, but if it's slow, he doesn't mind. He's you can see him there just going through the picture there, just ahead of Cam Levins in the all black. But Chogi still with a bit of a lead. They haven't caught him yet.
5:20 through 5 laps, coming up to 6 laps to be completed, and the pace 6:20, and others Augustin Chogi in 2nd place, and Edwin Soy, the main protagonist, one of the strong men. But there's Augustin Chogi looking very comfortable, what he should be at this pace. He's run a lot faster than this before.
Well, it's good to see Johnny Mellor going well here. You know, this is the sort of race. Ross Millington just starting to struggle a little bit towards the back, but Johnny Mellor and the blonde hair, about 4 or 5 from the back, is still in the pack, and he must be thinking, well, I know it might be slow at the front, but for me this is perfect. And he ran out pretty well for me in the European Team Championships. You know, it's hard to go into those tactical races, and he did okay there, and having a good race here today. And his personal best is only 13:36, but he's in better shape than that this year, and they just need opportunities, you know, for guys. If there you can see him in the blonde, just coming through. There he is. And you know, Brendan, it's hard for them to get in the right sort of races. If you want to run 13:20, you get in these 13-minute races, that's no good for you, and then often you get in other races where it doesn't happen. So this is working out well for Johnny Mellor.
Johnny Mellor is running well, and he should know now. He's watching the pace, he's watching the lap times. He knows it's not fantastically fast in this group, and so he can pick off pieces. Now Augustin Chogi is left, 5 laps to go. He's about 30 meters clear. He's been in that position all the way around, and now a former Commonwealth champion running that fantastic race in Australia 2006, winning that wonderful Commonwealth Games with great games in Melbourne, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have a similarly great games here in Glasgow. They've already given us a stadium to be proud of. The revolutionary installation of a track inside this football arena is a fantastic innovation. Really, the Glasgow authorities and the Commonwealth Games people should be very proud of what they've done here. And they've made the national stadium, a football stadium, into what looks to us, Steve, as a perfect bowl and a perfect athletic arena. And we've seen some good times on it tonight, and it's looking really good. And Augustin Chogi coming down the finishing straight. You see the 4 laps to go marker. And they're getting a little bit closer to him now. They're working together, and you know there is safety in numbers, and suddenly that gap has just been eaten up. They're going to work now. 4 laps to go. They're going to run hard.
Well, Bet had held them up, and he's starting to struggle, and Longasiwa recognised that. Longasiwa moved out quickly. The Olympic bronze medalist wasn't going to hang on. He got beaten at 3K the other day by someone who I love commentating on. His name's Kangogo, Bren, and you know, he'd be brilliant for you now to commentate a bit more on him. He's great.
Good Geordie name, that one, isn't
exactly. It? And Kangogo has had a good year. I remember seeing him beat Lagat and Chogi in Hengelo early in the season. He beat Longasiwa the other night. So Longasiwa, though, off that race, He's had 3 big races in this week, or this is 3rd of the week, so he must be a little tired, but at the moment he's dragged the pack. He's dragged the good runners right back onto the shoulder of Augustine Chogi, and he now knows that he's in a bit of bother here. He's really effectively leading for them. Alamaru is there, Gebriwet is there, Soy is there, Cam Levins is having a great race, Mo Farah training partner, he's right in there with this group as well, and they've pulled away from the rest.
And now we're going to get a great race here. We're going to get some real competition. 3 laps to go. Augustine Chogi still leading, but he's only leading, just keeping them going. And there we've got some athletes who competed with Mo Farah, silver medalist and bronze medalist in the Commonwealth, in the Olympic Games behind Mo Farah. We've got athletes who've beaten Farah, that's Edwin Soy. And now it's a case of who's got here most efficiently as they come up with 1,000 meters to go in the men's 5,000 meters. And we're seeing now a really competitive race.
And look at the figure in the back there. He's almost trying to hide. It's just sort of, I'm not really here, I'm not really here. That's Jaylan, the man who outkicked Mo Farah in 2011. As I said, he's starting to rediscover some sort of form, and Jaylan won the Ethiopian 5,000 meter championship, so you've got to be in pretty good form to do that. He was only 9th, mind you, in Paris when it really got moving the other night, but he is at the back of that pack. So this is developing into an interesting last couple of laps here. Bet, I wouldn't imagine, will have the pace. That's why he's trying to force it on. Gebriwet for the first time starting to show his colours, and Soy moving up on the outside. He's a good tactician for me, Soy, on the last 2 laps. Knows when to make his effort, knows who to cover, and he knows that Alamaru is going to be dangerous, and he wants to be close to him with less than 2 laps to go.
This is going to be a fierce last 800 meters, and it should be, because they've run relatively conservatively. They've got themselves into the position here where they've conserved all their energy. And Jaylan, who beat Mo Farah in the World Championships the other year, in the orange vest right in the back there, is running interestingly for me. He's letting them do it, letting them move and letting them happen there around him. He's just a few yards off the back of the group. And have they just done a bit too much for him?
Cam Levins, the Canadian, has just made a little bit of a move there, and how he must be feeling in this sort of company. It's not fast, that's why he's there. 13:15 his personal best, but this year he's only run 13:25, but looking comfortable, Cam Levins. Now what can he produce here? Jaylan is gone already as they approach the bell, so Cam Levins leads it. Gebriwet moves up on his shoulder. Alamaru tries to cover quickly. Edwin Soy recognises that this is the big push, so Gebriwet the first to break, and Soy just got left a little bit in the group. Alamaru was right on his teammate's shoulder. These two pulling away. They've opened up 10 meters straight away. Alamaru not hanging around, decides to go, even though this is big sprinting. Gebriwet trying to hold the inside, and Alamaru can cut over now if he wants to, because he's got a metre or so in Alamaru, but he hasn't got rid of Gebriwet. The two of them, half a metre between them, and just starting to slow a little bit now. There's Edwin Soy still trying to give chase. And Longasiwa there, those two must be too far away, but look at Alamaru, he's completely blown it, tries to pick it up again. Gebriwet is kicking, and Alamaru finds something a bit different, but Gebriwet comes away, and that's a big win for Gebriwet over Alamaru. 13:11 the winning time. Soy takes the 3rd spot. Longasiwa, then Bet, 53.97. Big last lap. Not quite Mo Farah, but it was a big last lap. And as they're coming down the home straight, I'm just watching Johnny Mellor, because he will be around 13:30, and 13:35, Brendan, is the time to go to the European Championships. He'll be inside that, and that'll be a personal best, so well done him. But what a sprint.
I think he's inside that. And Gebriwet, well, he was the silver medalist in the World Championships last year behind Mo Farah, and with a Mo Farah kind of finish and a fierce, quite an amazing last lap with his teammate Alamaru. They were running as though every line was the finishing line. It was a terrific finish, a 53.97 last lap, and there they were going into the finishing straight now, and the race has been going. Gebriwet and Alamaru neck and neck, and coming into the finishing straight now, working so hard, and you never know who's going to win this one. A 53.97 finish. Gebriwet wins it, Alamaru in 2nd place, and my goodness, it was a strange race, but a fantastic finish, and that's the way they want to do it. That's the way they can do it. Typical Ethiopian style. You always find these Ethiopians fast finishers. Well, there are both Ethiopian, both fast finishers, but Gebriwet got it on this occasion. Good race in the later stages, strange race in the early part.
Yeah, maybe a bit understanding. You know, they've had a couple of hard 5Ks, the guys, and obviously, despite pacemakers being put in, obviously Alamaru and the others didn't fancy it tonight. And well, in the end, he got beat as well. So Gebriwet takes the win. Big last lap, 13.11. It's still not really hanging around, is it? Alamaru, second place. Soy took third on this occasion. Cam Levens with the season's best, almost a personal best, just missed his personal best in 6th. Good run from the Canadian. So the points in the diamond race, you get 4 points for winning. Alamaru's having a good season. That moves him away from Soy, who had been